We always like to end things on a bit of a light note here. It was Halloween at the beginning of the week, so many of you may have dressed up. I was stuck in Ottawa, which is a scary enough place without it being Halloween. But CBC has decided to unironically run in its first-person section, which is where people who aren't conventional journalists or columnists share stories from their lives. I am a witch. I'm not evil, and I'm not your Halloween costume. So just to preface this, we have cultural appropriation, we have racial appropriation, we have the ban on blackface, which I think is a very good ban. No one should be doing blackface. We have all of these forms of appropriation where we're not supposed to partake in someone else's experience. Well, the witches say they've had enough of their culture being appropriated on Halloween. So it's time to ask you, Sue-Ann, have you ever dressed up as a witch for Halloween, and do you wish to make amends for it?
Not only have I dressed up, but I'll get you, my little pretty, and your little dog too.
That's appropriation. You're going to get canceled, Sue. Like, you're going to get your check mark taken away. You are going to be absolutely you have just appropriated witchhood.
I know. I'm going to be burned at the stake. That's all there is to it.
No, you burn at the stake jokes. That's appropriation too. You can't do any of it now. I'm like, at the end of it, I don't even know what you have left in society. When even like, because I get like, that was the old line you hear a lot of the time from Indigenous people. My culture is not a costume. And it's like, okay, I didn't know that people were offended by like the pointy hat and like the big, warty nose and all of that. But apparently, according to Suzanne McCrae, who is a Winnipeg-based, I'm using the description here, a Winnipeg-based writer and activist who practices witchcraft, which, in fairness, I think is the only way you can survive a life in Winnipeg. But she says, every Halloween, we have the witch talk. A witch is not a costume. I call myself a witch to challenge the stereotype of an ugly old woman with warts on her nose making deals with the devil. I didn't know witches made deals with the devil, but I mean, it turns out I don't know enough about witchcraft.
Well, I guess she hasn't seen the play Wicked with the Green Witch.
That's true.
So,
that is true. That is true.
So I think she needs to get out of Winnipeg and go see Wicked on Broadway. It's actually going to be playing in Toronto. Let's invite her to Toronto to see Wicked.
I was going to say we might have to fundraise to fly her out, but you know where this joke is going. She can just take her broom.
Exactly. I can lend her one. I have one.
Well, no, you got to get the broom to. Well, maybe you could just like fly the broom to Winnipeg to pick her up, and then she can grab on the broom. Oh. Yeah, and then she. Well, no, if you fly, you're appropriating her culture again. So she says she performs weddings and hand fastings the old Celtic way. I don't know what a hand fasting is. It sounds a little bit raunchy. If I don't want to Google it just in case. But she says she uses the word witch as an act of reclaiming, and says it's important to remember the near genocide of witches in the 16th and 17th centuries. Now, this is like the only thing Justin Trudeau has not apologized for, is the near genocide of witches 400 years ago.
Well, I think he's going to have to apologize for that Broadway show then, Wicked, because, green witches.
So let me just, to put a pin on this, when Pierre Poilievre says he wants to defund CBC and the media freaks out, he should just pull this story up on his phone and hold it to the camera and say nothing else. Like, this is like case in point in 600, 800 words, the case for defunding CBC.
There are so many cases, but this is a good one, I have to say. Well, maybe we could put a spell. Maybe we could, boil, cauldron, trouble, the whole thing, throw in a few toads and all that. And poof, CBC's gone.